Hello and thank you for joining the Monday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, APC threatens to expel and suspend errant members in Osun, Kwara, Delta and others for over parallel congresses as PDP insists that the Supreme Court has nullified exercise under Buni. Anxiety mounts over 6 COVID-19 related deaths. 519 infections in Lagos in 2 days as 16,000 resident doctors begin strike. And later on the show, Police Service Commission suspends Abba Kyari, appoint DIG to head 4-man investigation panel. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Dotun Oladipo. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. Let's begin on a note of appeal. Some leaders and residents of Matogun and Okpailu area of Agbado Okearo, a community in Lagos Ogun boundary area in Alagbado, have staged a peaceful protest to condemn the way trucks and articulated vehicles of a Chinese construction company are damaging their road. On Friday, the residents blocked the road in protest and vowed not to allow vehicles use the route till the management of the company supports the community, who raised about 4 million naira through self-help to fix the road. Let's share the story with you.
This is a peaceful protest. All we are after is to register our grievances because we did not see the government. We have been neglected. Our roads has been neglected. So it is no longer motorable. The environment is desolate. So we want the government to come around and construct our road for us. And we are not after this Chinese construction company. But what we have against them, that we wrote them that they should give us the corporate social responsibility that this community deserve, because their trucks and heavy duty equipment fly this road, and they have further destroyed the road to a situation or a condition that is no longer motorable. So they have everything they can use to support our palliative work, but they have refused to do this for us. We even buy the palliative material from them instead of giving it to us to repair the road. So we are expecting their boss to come around and dialogue with us, so that we can tell them what we require from them in order to make this road motorable. So we are peace-loving people, and we are not vagabonds. But they should come and listen to us and give us all the requirements that can be used to make this road motorable again.
Ìyà yìí ti pọ̀ jù, gbogbo ojú ọ̀nà ló ti bàjẹ́, àwọn mọ́tò onírin, àwọn mọ́tò ojú irin, àwọn ló ń gbàbẹ̀ kọjá, ṣìnkó, gbogbo mọ́tò wọn ló ti bọ̀nà jẹ́.
Ẹ̀bẹ̀ lábẹ́ àṣàkọ, kì í ṣe pé àṣàkọ ẹjọ́ torí Ọlọ́run abẹ́yìn ní ẹ wá bá wa ṣọ̀nà yìí kó ṣe é rìn.
We the youth of this Okpailu, what we are saying is enough of this rubbish. We don't want Shinkos to pass this road. We are not fighting. We are only protesting. We are only safeguarding our road. We want their boss, the Shinko, to come down, to come and address us. We need palliative here. If other government is not ready to do something, then they should do something. Because they have been the one blind this road. For years now, this road has been bad. A bus where we take 50 naira has become 500 naira because the road is bad. We have been buying palliative works that we have been doing from them. We bought from them, we paid them, and they still spoil the things we bought from them. So we want them to help us. But they are doing their own job, then they shouldn't spoil our own community.
Residents of Matogun, Okpailu area and Agbado Okearo, these areas, one thing I've observed about these areas from before down the line, you discover that there's a big, wide infrastructural deficit when it comes to roads.
Yes, it's terrible. Many residents of Ogun State have been asking God that what is their sin? Because you just have a feeling that government has totally neglected these people. And for the government of Dapo Abiodun, the debt that they inherited means that they cannot attend to all these roads. Now you find people building roads by themselves.
Yes, these old retirees.
What we expect is when they even try to build this road by themselves, compact road by themselves and all that, it's very costly. When they tax themselves, the responsibility of government is to take it further. At least they have done something.
And
assist them to complete.
Company, even planning
now,
this.
Look at this now.
Oh,
people are meant to use these roads. Now, if you as a company cannot help them to fix the road,
I'm telling you,
then you should not damage the road further. That is their complaint.
By bringing
and they have to block the road. Yes. There's no way these kind of vehicles will not damage the roads that they've constructed. That's why it's so painful. When you go to all of those areas, in fact, some of the major roads going through some communities are so bad that you have to avoid the road, pass through some inner roads.
Yes, I can tell you.
Out.
Songo.
If you
you have to go through
Akute. Okay. Akute. Towards Olambe, you cannot go right through that road to maybe Abule Ekun. You have to enter inside some communities and then not that roads were constructed in those communities. So you just have to find a way because you get stuck, especially now that it's raining.
Don't you?
Well, it's sometimes shocking when we hear these stories. I'm sure not long ago you would have heard the story of a community that constructed a footbridge on its own, and the local government came there to collect money from people using that bridge.
Shameless
right here in Ogun State.
This Ogun State.
So when we get to a point where governance has lost human feeling in a way, because all of these things that we are talking about, there can be palliatives. What this community has done now is self-help. So why can't the government, like BKO said, take it a bit further?
To raise 4 million naira on their own.
Just do something and say, okay, you people have done something. You have shown willingness to have...
Just grade that road.
Help them.
Make it compact so that even when it rains, the impact will not be as much as it is now. It would have, you have something solid. I think government should also be focusing on that. Any community that decides to help itself should get further help.
Yes. That's all that we appeal for. Now look at Akute, for example. From Ojodo Abiodun, Governor Dapo Abiodun is constructing a road from Ojodo Abiodun to come out in the Shashi area. Come out at that junction. What do they even call that junction? I've forgotten. Now, for some time now, the contractor, they started, they dug the drains and all that, they demolished people's homes and all that. After some time now, the contractor has stopped coming to work. So the people are angry. They say, what's going on? What's going on? What's really going on? Why would you stop this work? So it reinforces the feeling that people have that all of those areas that they are neglected. They compacted the road from Akute right up to Alagbole last year, to that road, they compacted it just as a way of doing palliative. Right now, it's as bad as it was last year. And nobody is doing anything about it. The people are suffering.
And that is densely populated areas.
Yes. If truly we have election, those areas, I'm sure no party would have won a vote in that place.
Oh, and they are densely populated areas. Densely for local government.
You find that is where people are.
For local government.
I say that our failure to plan ahead is always a problem.
All right, you just have to leave it there.
We'll find time to talk later about it.
Now, it appears that more murky waters lie ahead for the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, to navigate. Its World Congress across the country at the weekend is becoming another banana peel following reports of parallel congresses and divisive activities in states like Osun, Ogun, Oyo, Kwara, Delta, among others. The APC has vowed to punish members who organize parallel world congresses, contrary to its directive. Meanwhile, the main opposition, People's Democratic Party, PDP, insists that the APC World Congress amount to nullity due to pronouncement of the Supreme Court on the Ondo governorship election, which invalidates the Governor May Malabuni-led caretaker committee. Is PDP playing the medicine, the busybody here now?
So you are reminding them
Whatever you
that
do,
look, we are here, we are watching.
Let's start from the congresses. Now, Osun State, a state of progressive, a state that, look, we shouldn't ordinarily expect any kind of problem. What is happening between Interior Minister and Governor Itola? What's happening?
Of course, they've had their issues, and it's evident that the leaders couldn't solve the problem, because remember there was a meeting in Baba Konde's
house,
home, and then we saw a photo. There was a photo shoot shortly after that, and then the minister and the governor left in the same vehicle, but
to convey that thing that okay,
having been following political developments, I told people, I said,
it doesn't amount to anything.
Yes, they can even sit on each other's laps. One can put the other person on his laps. It doesn't mean that fighter said that. As a very young boy, you know, I saw Oloye Olusola Saraki do something similar in Kwara on the eve of the 1983 governorship election. They all thought that Shagari came to town, and they thought that the quarrel between Olusola Saraki and his political son Adamu Atta had ended. But immediately after that rally at the Kwara Mini Stadium complex, Olusola Saraki, the late Olusola Saraki, Oloye, told his supporters that they should vote for the enemy, which was UPN. That was how CEO Adebayo was able to win the election. Meanwhile, they were smiling. Everybody was happy. We were watching, because in those days they would show rally live, and I was watching it because the ruling party was MPN in Kwara. They showed it, and my mom too was there, because she always encouraged me to show interest in politics. She will be giving me gist and all that, and I'm like, these people have resolved this dispute. Me, I wanted Awu to win, because I will jump over the wall of our school, Government High School Ilorin, to go and watch Awu's rally in Adewale Estate. As a 14-year-old boy. Yes, I will go and watch. So, at the end, these people, Olusola Saraki told them to vote for the enemy, and that was how UPN was able to win.
An instruction.
Once it
passes an instruction,
in 1999, I told my boss then, Bayo Nonuga, I said, watch out for what Olusola Saraki will do to his party, AMPP. I told him. He said, no, he's not going to do it. I've known him. I was a little boy. I said, just watch out.
What happened?
Because of the way the primaries of his own party went.
Okay.
He turned against his party in the presidential election.
Okay, to endorse Obasanjo.
Yes, Obasanjo now won, and he made Buki his one of his
advisor.
aides.
Yes, I remember.
He was originally in AMPP, if you remember. But the way the primaries went, he did not like. You know? So politicians will sometimes come out, smile at camera, so that you people, the gullible people, yes, they've made up. What have we seen now? No, there is no concrete resolution.
And the election is closer than we expect. In Osun State, it's next.
The APC consistently refuses to learn his lesson. Before the 2019 election, they had crises in no less than 10 or 11 states. They did not resolve those crises. Because in most cases, you will find that the leaders of the party who ought to sit down and resolve crises, they too are backing some particular people. So when you are backing, you are not neutral, you are backing your own side, you have your own interest. Then how do you resolve dispute? That was how they lost at least 4 states, if not 5. So this is the thing. If they had resolved the dispute between Magatakada Wamako and Tambua, would they have lost Sokoto? That's not where they will have lost Sokoto now. Because I remember that Asiwaju went there. That was the first place that he went to. And party leaders frustrated Asiwaju's moves when Baba Oyegun went to set up a parallel peace committee in response to the president's directive that Asiwaju should resolve party members. So this one too, if they don't resolve it, it has the prospect of embarrassing the party.
It's too close.
They should learn from history. You left Bauchi unresolved. You left Adamawa unresolved. You left several states unresolved.
Out of 22 states that belongs to the APC, now what we gathered now is that there's crisis in 13. Out of 22 states that APC control.
That's more than half.
Okay, look at Kwara State now, between the Minister of Information and the governor from day one.
In fact, that for me is the real deal, because the party did not endorse anybody to conduct a congress in that state. What the party said was, hold on, that you have not even done registration. We are going to focus first on registration.
Oh, they didn't do their own registration?
No, because of all this wahala. Now, what they have done is, both sides said, okay, in order to avoid any eventuality, let us organize the congresses. So the people on the side of the Minister for Information, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, the people on the side of the governor, Abdulrazak Abdurrahman, conducted their own polls, their own congresses. So I mean, that is that is just it for me in terms of what APC is doing to itself. But more importantly is, one would have thought that based on the failings of the PDP, on which the APC got into power, something would have been done to avoid this calamity. Because PDP boasted it was going to be in power for 60 years, but these were the kind of issues that ruined it. These were the kind of issues. APC is doing the same thing. If you ask me in all of this, I think it started right from when they gained the presidency. When you look at those that initially stood up before that consensus was reached to give President Muhammadu Buhari the go-ahead, those people were never really settled in terms of
patronage,
proper integration into the system.
And
because
the,
we all
and the
know
legacy
that,
parties that came together.
We all know that in Nigeria, politics is all about patronage. My supporters must benefit from this system. Have those people who stepped down for the president benefited? That's one. Number two for me is this. Any party that is operating at the federal level that does not have a strong leader in the mold of former President Olusegun Obasanjo will continually have this kind of crisis in this country. What happened to PDP? You will see that it was after Obasanjo who was forcing everybody into his own mold.
He was the sovereign.
He was the sovereign.
He was the sovereign.
How will you do this kind of thing under Obasanjo? For me,
the election under him was just formality.
No, it was because you already know where you're going.
Everybody
you can't go and do a congress and saying you have been parallel congress. Before you know it, somebody is chasing you, even though it's not democratic. But those are the kind of things that politicians in Nigeria understand. Because I don't see why your leaders will call you and say, "See, let's resolve this issue," and you say no.
If the leaders are sincere,
yes, if the leaders
they can resolve disputes.
The president, President Buhari, when it comes to running the affairs of his party, he seemed to have left that party to those people he entrusts the party with and everything. But the bottom line is, when it's time to wield the big stick, he hardly, apart from the Oshomole saga, then the president is so laid back. There's crisis everywhere now, and this crisis, APC might implode. It is not taken.
That's why different people now have said that, look, when Buhari leaves, this party will be in trouble. We've had the Senate president say it. We've had the governor of Ekiti say it. It is a fact. Not only will it be difficult to muster those 12 million votes, you know, those 12 million votes that are usually sitting, yes, it will be difficult to muster it. To even find someone, a rallying point from northern Nigeria, that can get those votes.
Those 12 million.
In today's Nigeria, there is no such person. It's Buhari who can muster such votes. And even, you can say, well, he has not performed to expectation. But people still like him. People still like him. If you want to put that to test, let him go to some of those...
look at his last out now.
Too. People, because as I said before, many people will say, the problem that brought him to power, he did not create. He just came to try to help us. That's the way some people are viewing the thing, you know. So now, the president, by his own style, doesn't get involved. It's not, when he gives you responsibility, he trusts you absolutely that you will deliver. That's why, look, under Obasanjo, for example, some of the things that we are seeing in the Niger Delta ministry, there's no way that they will happen. You know? You understand? There's no way to happen. Some of the things we are seeing in the Niger Delta ministry. But when this president gives you a job to do, he expects you to give your best. And he does not say, oh yeah, you must do this, you must do this. No. He does not believe in micromanagement. Now, you see the same thing happening. When you as a minister, you now have someone below you disrespecting you or who is against you. Whatever action you take against that person, the president will not get involved. That's what we saw in MPA between Rotimi Amechi and yes, that's the example of what we saw. And the president consistently does that. So that style also extends to his handling of crisis in his party. He expects other people to be able to jump in and help him. But it's not working. The respect that people have for him, people in the party, many of them won elected positions because of him. Without him, a lot of them would not have won. Buhari is the sort of person that even rival parties like PRP, they put his picture on their poster.
That time is 15.
Yes.
That time it was
different. It's not APC, because they know that it can help them to win. So now he has got to change some of this. He has to change some of this in the interest of the party. For example, now, the president says today that we don't need these congresses for now. Let's resolve the outstanding issue. Everybody will fall in. Exactly. But he doesn't do that regularly. That is the problem. If he calls today to say, look, this argument over whether Buni should continue, let's have a meeting, and he takes that decision, everyone will fall in. But he doesn't use that gambit all the time.
Now, the former legal advisor, two former legal advisors, I watched Moise Banere yesterday. I've seen Babatunde Ogala and Festus Keyamo. They've all given advice saying that, look, the continued stay in office of Governor Buni, that might be injurious to the party. But I saw a press release from the office of the Attorney General yesterday saying that, look, there's nothing wrong.
Well, what has happened is, like some people have said...
And they're all lawyers, senior advocates of
Senior advocates, like some people have said, and not in a very distant past, that the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Abba Kyari, will bury the party. I don't know how they came to that conclusion, but when you look at the trend in that party, he appears to be moving in that direction. Because politics sometimes cannot be put in a mold where you don't want any kind of movement, where you don't want it to be reshaped. If people are saying, see, we need to be careful. Even the opposition party is saying, see, We are seeing, we are watching what is happening, which is the
to crash
PDP. They are watching so that they can cause
to benefit from it.
Problem.
Yeah.
Then I think the minister should be listening, because if you have opinions about 3-4 that differ from yours, then you should also take note.
That was how he behaved during the Amotekun thing.
Yeah.
Until superior argument prevailed. They didn't want Amotekun.
So today, look at the effectiveness of Amotekun.
At least in some of the states, Osun, Ondo, they are useful.
So he needs to be careful. We need to watch him.
We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's journalist Hangout. Please don't go away. It's journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from TVC News here, and I still have Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Dotun Oladipo in the studio. Nigeria and indeed the world is yet to be freed from the grip of the ravaging COVID-19 pandemic. In the last 2 days, Lagos recorded about 519 COVID-19 cases and 6 deaths, rising fear as the government struggles to deal with the more dangerous Delta variant amid this mounting anxiety. 16,000 resident doctors under the aegis of the National Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, commenced a nationwide strike this Monday over unpaid salaries and benefits to families of members that lost their lives to the pandemic, as well as hazard allowances. Actually, there's a misconception even stemming from Lagos State, because the Commissioner for Establishment came out with a press release yesterday, and the Prime said to deny it that this NYC doctors, training doctors, resident doctors, that there's a rumor that went around that from 75,000 that the government want to cut their money to 15,000, and they denied it, that there's nothing like that. Let's start from down.
Well, don't also forget that these issues affect all the states. They are just bringing them together. For example, when they are talking about irregular payment of salary and deductions, they are referring to some states. Okay. I think the other day they were talking about Abia, saying that
Abia
doctors were being owed many months' salary in the state-owned teaching hospital.
That's Dr. Upazu.
Yes. So, and what they want to see is a situation in which all of these problems can be addressed together. So it's possible that Lagos does not have a problem, but that some states are suffering from it. Just as we've seen now that, look, some states don't have a big COVID problem, but in Lagos is approaching something big again, for which everyone has to be careful. If we can move in 2 days to in excess of 500 new cases,
and it's more devastating,
then that's why I thought that we are not testing enough. Then we have to be careful. If inbound passengers are evading quarantine and they are getting away with it, then we all should be worried. And to compound matters, this is happening at a time when resident doctors have decided to go on strike again. They are saying that they lost 19 of their colleagues, and that government has not even paid, they lost them to COVID-19. You know?
Everything 19.
Yes. Now, government has not paid the entitlements of those doctors to their families. How do you encourage people to put their lives on the line? These people are the first responders. They are the front line.
If you watch CNN, if you watch BBC, they celebrate them abroad.
You need to see, yes, all those,
they celebrate them.
The NHIS or what they call those guys in the UK. The public health practitioners in the UK. They celebrate them, they hail them, you know.
They're like heroes.
They like them. Yes, they are heroes. People put their lives on the line so that you can be saved. Yeah. They can't be called anything apart from heroes. Now, it's since 1991, we have not increased hazard allowance of doctors. It's still 5,000.
5,000. That's ridiculous.
This is for 5,000 that you put your life on the line. Yes. To save other people.
It's not realistic.
The truth is, if since April 10, government said, okay, we are going to, let's have a memorandum of agreement. You are going to do this, you are going to do that, you are going to do this. And immediately the memorandum of agreement was signed, everyone went to sleep. You are now surprised that they are back on strike. That's not good. Do something, approach, come to the middle. If you can't do all of these things, don't make promises that you can't fulfill. That was what the Senate president warned them about. He said, we see clearly that you make promises that you can't fulfill. Promises that there's no cash backing for.
Yep.
So now, come to these people, tell them, look, for now, admit with us, we can do these 5 out of your 10 grievances.
Don't just say you want to discuss them
because them. These guys are not fools. They suspended the strike that time, they didn't call it off. Which means that they can resume the strike without even notifying you.
Yes, exactly.
That's what it means. Yes. And that's what they have done now.
Dr. I think this is kind of insensitive. If 16,000 resident doctors doing in between a pandemic.
It's, well, sometimes I don't even know what to say. Because like BQ said, you've brought people together. April, May, June, July. 3 months after, and we are still on the same spot. These people are saying, see, you made promises and you can't fulfill them. That is why sometimes I say to people, I'll prefer somebody like the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, negotiating on behalf of the federal government. Because he says it straight to most of these people who go to visit him. You are asking for this, and this, but the economy cannot take it now. These are guys go to the negotiating table.
Stop giving them false hope.
Let them know
that we will do it. Don't worry.
We're going to do it. No.
And when you get to that time,
the one that I feel should be quickly addressed is this issue of the hazard allowance. How do you pay a man 5,000 naira? Even I won't take it. Sitting in my room to be working for somebody and you are paying me 5,000.
Risking my life.
Risking my life for you. We should be factual.
19 of them are dead.
Most companies, they work from home now.
We should be factual when we are negotiating.
They must be physically...
Say it as it is. Let them know. See, this is what we have in the budget. Except we are going to make the country collapse. These are the things that are possible now. Not that you just go, sign an agreement which you know, as you are signing it, that you are not going to fulfill. It's a dangerous trend.
You know, the painful thing is that government even promised to increase the thing.
Yes.
And you said, okay, so percent of the basic salary, I think maybe 30% or so, I'm not sure, of basic salary is what you will now get as that allowance. Then since that time, they've been waiting. Pay this thing now.
Don't forget the brain drain in that industry. They're all going to Australia, going to UK, going to in Saudi Arabia now. No, those are trained doctor, $5,000.
They know that we have very capable health practitioners, even dentists. They are in short supply in other places. If you can go to the UK and other places, they'll be happy to receive you. Go to Canada. They need laborers in a lot of those places.
Even when you look at what is happening at the Olympics, you see Nigerians competing with other countries.
And defeating fellow Nigerians. These are our own children.
These are people we brought up here. Our own names. And then we've seen...
You don't sign a memorandum of action. You don't call it memorandum of action when there is no plan to fulfill it. When you do that, you make it look like you are taking them for granted. Since April 10, what have we been doing? It's the same attitude to ASU.
And ASU is going to strike again.
Yes, and you know, even consultants too, they've served a 21-day notice, ultimatum. No, consultants. These residents also are their juniors. Yes, consultants too. They are already threatening that they too will take action. So how can we have a health sector where people are at the risk of not providing service at a critical time like this? Okay. When we have cholera has killed almost 600 Nigerians. Then we have
shameful.
Yes, even Abuja is one of the highest.
It's involved.
It's one of the highest.
You are talking of cholera. You are talking of
and we have COVID.
Adegoke is calling us from Niger State.
Good evening.
Good evening, okay.
Yeah, Babajide Kolade Ojitoju. I'm very lucky this evening to have been online.
Thanks.
I've been trying you over 3 months.
Wow.
And my
devoted your time.
to Ayotu and Mr. Oladipo.
Yes.
My contribution goes to that Ajuwon Akute Road. In fact, it's very, very bad. Very, very bad. From Alagbole down to what's it called? So Akute is a terrible road. In fact, I have so many friends that because of the road, they park away from that side. So like Ododo Abiodun to other areas. So you guys are doing very good job. But if you can really tell whoever is in charge, we will really appreciate. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very,
We have to go. We don't have the time.
Thanks. Yes, as I was saying, that hazard allowance around 30%. It's actually 33% of basic salary. But implementation has not happened. If people are saying they are being owed salary, implement, and you agreed, implement. That's the only way we can avoid all of this wahala in the health sector.
Okay.
And you know, finally, at my own end, I believe that even the budget to the health sector at state and federal level has to be increased. A situation in which we are dedicating just 4% of our budget to health. We need to look at even the countries around us. That's why they are doing better.
Health.
That's why they are doing better. We need to 4%.
That's why
That's why you can't find money. You can't raise enough money to take care of the problems in the sector. It's just too low.
All right. And finally, for the battle the head of the Intelligence Response Team, IRT, of the Nigerian Police, Abba Kyari, the stakes are getting higher over alleged involvement in the $1.1 million fraud by internet fraudster Ramon Abbas, popularly known as Osh Puppy. Following recommendation of the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, the Police Service Commission, PSC, has suspended Kyari, a Deputy Commissioner of Police. In a statement by the Head of Press and Public Relations at the Police Service Commission, Ikechukwu Ani, his suspension took effect from Sunday, the 31st of July, pending the outcome of the investigation of his indictment by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, that's FBI in the United States of America. Dr. Let me start from. So many things happened during the weekend, and it was recommended for suspension by the Inspector General of Police, and the Police Service Commission actually suspended the Deputy Commissioner of Police.
Well, Kyari has become the news. And there's a reason for that. Because at this point, for a lot of Nigerians, from the feedback I'm getting, no matter the indictment now, their challenge is, do we even believe it? Based on what we have had and we have seen this man do in the course of his 20 years service. Because I remember some months back, we spoke about him on this program, especially when we had the call for the blanket ban of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, the SAS. We were able to point out some key officers who have done very well, and it was one of them. So for this, it's a big, big, big stain if it comes out positive. Because a lot of people are refusing, as we speak now, to believe there is a problem somewhere. But we are seeing that there is a problem. Because he has been, to a lot of people, what they call him, a super cop, who has distinguished himself until now.
The police, the Nigerian police, I think they are quick enough to say, look, this thing has taken a kind of international dimension. It should not rub off in the entire police force so that they won't have credibility problem. That's why I'm saying, okay, without prejudice to what is on ground, that look, step aside, pending the time of that investigation, and the police have set up their own internal investigative panel led by Deputy Inspector General of Police.
That's the right thing to do.
They got it right.
They've got it really spot on. Fantastic decision to suspend him and launch an investigation into the allegations against him. We can't sit here and dismiss those allegations. For it would be stupid to sit here and dismiss those allegations. We will not say, oh, Abba Kyari, you are guilty as indicted. No, it makes no sense to do that. So we are a sovereign nation. We have our own means of investigating misdemeanors. When another country accuses one of your own of being guilty of this and that, we can investigate on our own, and that's what the IG has set in motion now. A 4-man committee led by a DIG will look at those allegations. They will hear from him. He deserves fair hearing. We can't just hand him over to FBI, because once the FBI gives this issues this warrant of arrest, then Interpol now has an obligation to go and get him.
You might not be able to even step out of the country again.
No, that one is not might. He cannot. He cannot. If he tries it, he could be sleeping in his hotel room somewhere, and he will wake up in America.
In the US.
He could go to bed in another, maybe Ghana or somewhere, wherever. But by the time it's time to wake up, he will wake up to a different surrounding. That's the way those people are. And they are notoriously stubborn for waiting. Look, if it takes them 100 years, they will not relent. That's why I gave the example of Gaddafi. His agents who blew up the Pan Am aircraft over Lockerbie in Scotland. America waited for 11 years to get hold of those two guys. It was Gaddafi by himself that presented them to America. After years of sanctions, harassment, military, harassment by their military and all that. So he invariably had to hand them over. Because they had done a discreet investigation which showed that, it showed where they even purchased some of the explosive devices that they put together. You know, at the place where they bought some of those things, the CCTV showed their faces. So they knew the guys they went for the. At this stage, it is even a court. It's a U.S. court that gave the order for arrest. So FBI has finished its investigation.
Over a year.
It has.
They finished their investigation. It's not.
It calls it indictment, which it always says the person remains not guilty until proven. But we have seen that for these guys to come up with some of these things,
they don't
cases in the past.
They don't do. You know, I was telling someone.
They don't do it.
I always talk about the case of Diezane. The British authorities have seized Diezane's passport for more than 6 years. But they've not been able to charge her to court. No. Because they are still looking for. Once they indict you and they bring you to court, you are not likely to escape.
You are not.
And they will not bring you to court unless they have what looks like a prima facie case against you. That is the difference between them and our own EFCC.
The Ramon Abbas pleaded guilty already.
Yes, no, you have no.
Because we showed him everything.
Ibori's associates, they first jailed them. They jailed Ibori's associates one after another, including his girlfriend, his wife. By the time they got to him, he had no reason to waste the time of the court.
No.
And that's why his judgment was a bit lenient, because they were happy that he didn't waste their time. But they had jailed the people around him, all of those who were involved. So how can you escape? So this is their own nature. I'm happy that at our level this is an exemplary officer, no doubt about it.
Honestly,
it breaks my heart that this has happened, because
I admire.
You remember when the IG, former IG said that he was going to disband all the tactical teams in the police.
Yes.
You remember how he came here and I fought hard that no, you must not. And invariably he changed his mind.
Yes.
It was because of my faith in Abba Kyari that Abba Kyari and Kolo, another fantastic officer in the police, that we had to do that. It's not. We are not from the same town.
I don't
I've never seen him. I've never seen him.
I met him in Edo State. That was when I snapped the picture with him.
That A-list.
People listed me as A-list friends of Abba Kyari.
Yes, a journalist is just doing his job. Photo opportunity does not turn you to a friend.
An accomplice.
No, that you are not even friends. You are not friends that you snap pictures. How many people snap pictures with us? We go to ShopRite, people will come, let me that does not turn us to friends now.
Do you understand?
So, because your brother, Professor Kemi in Ife, the professor of history, he said, tell my brother Ayo that I've seen him. He's part of the A-list. I said, what is? They just had to do their story. What they did, they just went to his Facebook page.
They went to his Facebook.
People have snapped pictures with him.
Yes.
You know? It's unfortunate this has happened, but
it's a big lesson.
I was even projecting ahead that somebody like this is a future Inspector General.
Of course, without a doubt.
The way he was going,
It's not even your own projection alone.
It's not even. That's what people want to see.
A long time
that is the kind of person like this, the way he
posted
crimes.
Right from his days in Lagos.
That had been the feeling that this is
National Assembly gave him an honor.
Yes.
They've never honored even an IG.
Individual, yes.
They've never honored an IG.
Yes.
That's the first policeman. Yes, to be honored. And that day he stood there to receive that award.
No. It's just...
You know, I felt like shedding tears.
I love that day.
Yes.
I'm telling you, because I followed it.
1 minute, unguarded minutes.
Just, you see, the thing is, this life, you are just one step away from making a fatal mistake.
I'm telling you.
Just one step away. One step away.
We ruin you.
Yes, one step away.
You know?
One step away from making a fatal mistake. That's how the successes.
Let's quickly take Olawale from Ikorodu. It's been a while, Wale.
Good evening, Ayo.
Good evening, Wale.
Ama Tata, good evening. I'm my good friend on the right.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry, I just have to take you back a bit.
Time. Okay.
Concerning the issue of governance. Look, we can never have enough money for health sector and the educational sector if less than 500 members of the National Assembly are spending between 128 and 130 billion every year.
It's more than that, sir.
It's far more than that.
It's more than that. It's about 300, sir.
Then the cost of governance itself. In spite of that, we have ministers for each ministry. You have special advisors. You have senior special assistants. Even the president himself has special advisor on administration. What for? And all those ones are giving cards. They are receiving salaries. Even special advisor also. You also have special advisor and senior special assistant.
Yes,
So
that's true.
That's true. Thank you, Ali. You know the beauty of this whole thing. We are not here to pass judgment on anybody.
No.
We are just so kind of disappointed and unhappy.
You know what I would wish to see?
Honestly.
You know the story that can gladden my heart is for us to suddenly be told that there were mistakes somewhere.
Because of the career paths, the way...
And the faith that we had in him.
Somebody with love.
If it can just happen
Miraculously
that we hear that FBI made some mistakes.
This man can be saved.
Because we've seen indictments quashed before,
Yes.
even in the US.
Yes.
We've seen
It's
even
possible.
somebody sentenced to death before in the US that was overturned.
Yes. Life imprisonment.
Yes, if it can happen.
In error.
Although it looks most unlikely. But if it can happen, honestly, it will make me happy.
And honestly, people like Ramon Abbas, policemen should learn to just, know when to call it.
Don't be close to them.
Don't be close to people like that, of that character.
The kind of job they do, they don't need. They must socialize.
Like judges too.
But they don't need to.
At all.
I know of judges. If you are coming to see them, and it's like maybe even as a friend, but they have had that you have one case somewhere, they'll have people with them, so that all those conversations you have it in their presence.
Record. Yes, no?
You don't have to attend parties where you have people
To the extent
who are
join them in dancing.
you like your clothes, you want to start purchasing.
You are not a fashion trendsetter.
No.
You just must be. The job is too sensitive.
That defense was just so watery.
You are not vivid in imagination.
What's the name of this prominent designer? No, it wasn't. Ultimately, we expect first.
They are not collectibles.
That they shouldn't. This panel should not take time, Jide.
No, we don't. They should just ask him questions specific to the allegations, and they are easy to validate. The issue of phone account. Once an account is mentioned in this, they just need to look at
and since these FBI guys have even been coming to the force headquarters,
yes,
it's easy.
They are piling pressure by coming to meet the IG.
Give us the evidence. It's so easy. It's straightforward.
All right. I want to thank you, Dr. Oladipo. Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And the master himself, Omar Tata.
Thank you, Baba. That was it funny. I want to say thank you to Ademola Oni, Eniola Oluko, to my friend in Punch newspaper that actually helped me out with that story yesterday. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another edition of the program. And don't forget to join us every Sunday from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. See you tomorrow. God bless Nigeria.